And with us, I've got Jessica Hawkins, who is not just the driver ambassador for the Aston Martin F1 Racing, but also a superstar racer in the W Series. She's one of the role models for not just women in motorsport, but sport globally. It's the last race of the season. How would you summarize your year so far?
For me, it's been a great season. I've done a lot of racing. Sadly, I couldn't finish either of the championships I've done due to many reasons, but lack of funding mainly. But other than that, I've been racing a lot. It's been a fantastic year. I've had some great success, been on the podium a few times, so that's great. As far as the Formula 1 is concerned, obviously the championship is wrapped up, but nevertheless it looks very close out there, and it's going to be an incredible race. And Aston Martin, we've made huge steps throughout the year, so next year is I'm excited for next year already.
Your role as the driver ambassador for Aston Martin, can you just touch upon that, and what are some of the things that you do about daily? Do you travel the world with the team as well?
Yeah, so normally I would do 8 to 10 races with the team, then obviously I race myself at another 8, so it's quite a busy season. Yeah, so I started with the team, this is the end of my second year, very much started in a media sponsorship partnership role, but it's very quickly escalated. I'm now doing hot laps and driving the simulator, which is a huge step up, so I'm gaining more and more trust, and my role keeps increasing, which is great.
How physical does it get when you're in a race car? You know, a lot of people say, oh, maybe women cannot handle the level of impact, the level of stress on the body. What do you say to these claims? You know, having stepped into one of the F1 cars, you're in W Series as well. How would you respond to that?
Yeah, I would say, yes, they're physical. It's no secret, they are physical, but the issue really lies in that there's a severe lack of women in the sport. So men drop out along the way. On their journey to Formula 1, they drop out for multiple reasons. Either they don't have enough funding, or they're not strong enough, or they're not fit enough, or they're not good enough. And it's the same for women. Women drop out for the same reasons. But the trouble is we start with so few females that, by law of averages, we're not going to have a female make it to the, a full-time racing driver, so Formula 1 racing driver. So we're addressing that issue. There are more females getting into motor racing and grassroots, and I think that we're really going to start to see a change in motorsport over the next few years coming.
You spoke about change. Over the weekend, the F1 Drivers Academy was announced for female drivers. Your thoughts on that, and how that will impact the future as well for racers? Yeah,
I see it only as a positive, really. It's obviously run by Bruno Michel, who comes with a wealth of knowledge and experience. So yeah, I mean, it's giving another platform to women in motorsport, so I only see it as a positive.
Now, it was mentioned in the press conference, even Stefano mentioned that it's left to the teams to select drivers, to go look out for talents. Is Aston Martin invested in the project, and would you be up for a spot should they come asking? W Series is still very much on my radar. That's not completely written off yet. There's still hope that it will go again. So yeah, I mean, I will keep my options open, obviously, but I have to wait and see about W Series, because that's where, if it goes ahead, that's where I will be. We spoke about your experience in racing. I just want to touch a bit upon your passion for racing. Where did this come from? Was it the first time you visited one of your favorite racetracks, and that's when you decided you want to make this a part of your life?
I was a very sporty kid. I was not particularly academic, but I was very active and excelled at sports. And I was playing golf one day, which wasn't a particular favourite of mine, but it was active, so I just enjoyed it. And in the distance was a kart track, and I didn't really know what it was, so I begged my dad to let me have a go. He said no at first, but I kept going on and on and on about it, and eventually he gave in. And I guess I just fell in love with it. And it was never supposed to be a career. It was just something that I loved doing, that I turned out to be quite good at. So I won the championship in my first year, and then kind of just snowballed from there, really. And here I am, 20 years later, still racing, making a career in motorsport. So really unintentional, to be honest, but really, I guess, the best thing that ever happened.
You say it's unintentional, but when you go to the races or when you visit one of these historical tracks, is it muscle memory for you, or can you close your eyes and can you identify where the braking points are, where the turning is? Do you have a favorite track like that?
Favourite circuit? See, I've only ever done hot laps around here, so taking passenger laps and making people scream on the lap. I've only ever done that here. I've sadly never raced here. Hopefully one day. Favourite circuit? That's so difficult. I would take the first sector from COTA.
Okay.
Which is USA, Texas. I would then attach it to the first sector of Spa, and then the final sector would be...
Maybe something from home? Silverstone, maybe?
Silverstone, okay, yeah.
Well, COTA is really interesting because you have the high-speed S corners as well. Speaking about the G-forces you experience, how's it been for you? How's that impact been for you?
I train. Obviously, the higher up in motorsport you go, I guess the more physical it gets. But our cars don't have power steering, but Formula One does. It just has different physical aspects. So each different category you go in, they're all physical, but in a different way because of the geometry, the way the car works. So Formula One is probably less physical. I mean, I'm basing this off of the information that I've heard. I don't actually have facts. But from what I've heard, I think that Formula 2 is more physical on the arms, not quite so bad on the neck. But because Formula 1 has power steering, it's slightly easier on the arms, but a lot more stress on the neck because you're obviously going fast around corners. So they're all physical in a different way.
I noticed, and when I was doing my research, this actually caught me by surprise, that you did stunt driving for a James Bond film, No Time to Die.
Yeah.
How was the experience of that?
Obviously an incredible experience and one that I never thought would happen.
Right.
And it actually only came about because basically I'd run out of money to go racing. I don't come from a wealthy background.
Right.
So I'd stopped racing, and then I kind of got into stunt driving through. It was a mistake, but it was a good mistake. A friend tagged me in a Facebook post, I applied for the job, I got the job, and then I was opened up into this new world that... But it's so different from racing, but I would say that you use the same set of skills, just used in a completely different way.
You spoke about your background. When you look at drivers like Lewis Hamilton, who comes from humble beginnings, does he stand as a figure of inspiration for not just women, but also men and other athletes as well, that you can rise to the ranks?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it is possible to make it far in motorsport with not coming from a wealthy background, but it sure as hell is a lot harder. Yeah. And the chances are so much significantly less. But on the odd random occasion that it does happen and they do meet the right people at the right time, then it can happen. So yeah, he is an inspiration to all. My journey hasn't been easy, but it's all about how you come back from those, and he's an inspiration to everyone, I think, not only those that... He is a very influential, inspiring person.
Can you paint us a picture of an ideal motorsports career for you?
Ooh, what if I was starting from scratch? This is difficult. Okay, if I was starting from scratch and money was not an issue...
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll take all the factors aside, no barriers. You're starting from scratch, an ideal motorsports career for you.
Oh, there are so many different routes that you can take, so let's go with the Formula 1 route.
Yeah.
So I would start in karting, probably do the British Championships, then go on to the European and World Championships.
Brilliant.
I'd then probably do Formula 4 for a couple of years. 1 year or... No, or what I do... Maybe I would do some kind of junior series first.
Right.
I'd go Formula 4, 1 or 2 years. I'd then go maybe possibly W Series or Formula Regional, something like that, for a year or two. Then move into Formula 3, again a year or two. I'd then move into Formula 2, a year or two, and then I'd be hunting for a Formula 1 drive, providing that the results were there, you know.
You didn't mention the number of titles you want to win.
Oh, I'll have won all of them.
All of them?
All of them, yeah.
That's fantastic.
In an ideal world, you know.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, Jessica.